How's it
Hey
going?
Dave, how you doing?
Fantastic. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so where are you? Where are you dialing in from?
I'm in Gloversville, New York, which is 5 minutes south of the Adirondacks, so
Wow,
pretty far up there.
that is upstate. Awesome.
Upstate.
So, speaking of upstate, that's the name of your coffee brand. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Upstate Coffee was founded in a co-op, Mohawk Harvest Co-op, which is the heart of our town. So it's unique in that way that we're very community oriented.
That's awesome. Um, so you know about this live stream. You've watched previous episodes, and you know it's focused on entertainment and artistry. And you yourself are actually an artist in many senses of the term. You have a master's. You have actually two masters in art and museum studies and in fine art. Amazing. You've won awards for your ceramics. You've been part of a beautiful bike company that does like really high-end stuff, very much artistic work. So craftsmanship, and you
Yes.
bring that to coffee now. So I would love to know, and I think the folks watching would like to know about how to craft a good cup of coffee. Like, what are some of your tips to make coffee taste better?
Well, it depends on how you'd like to brew your coffee, whether it's a latte or a cold brew or a French press. So there's a lot of different ways that you can have a good cup of coffee. You know, paper filters remove some oils. If you want a nice clean cup of coffee, you can use a paper filter. If you want to let those oils through, have a French press. And you can dial in the grind size and play with different variations of all of them, actually.
Actually, tell me about that, the grind size. What's best for what kind of coffee?
Well, the grind size is fundamental. It's arguably one of the most important parts of a good cup of coffee. So, Upstate Coffee is a kind of an outdoor-oriented company, and we have a lot of really great ties with hikers and outdoorsmen and sports. So, let's think of it as like building a fire, an outdoor campfire. So you have your kindling, which is wood that start the fire, and it burns super fast. So think of that as the small grains. And then you have your big logs that burn for a long time, and think of that as the coarse grains. So the small grains extract really fast, and the larger grains extract slower. So for a French press, you would want it to, since it steeps for quite a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, you want a coarse grind. And then if you're going to be using a paper filter, then you can use a medium fine, because it kind of goes through and goes through the coffee and goes into your cup. And if you're going to be using espresso, like an espresso machine, you want really fine, because it pushes through and goes really fast. And if you don't have a consistent grind, like if you just throw a bunch of stuff in your fire, it's going to burn funny or not burn at all. And with a coffee, you're going to get over extraction on a fine grind and an under extraction on a coarse grind if you really just need a medium consistent grind. So really having a good grinder and experimenting on the grind size for the type of brewing method is very important, and it's kind of fun too.
So I'm huge into cold brew. You know this. What would you say would be the best kind of grind for that?
Well, you're probably using a paper filter, or are you using a French press?
Neither. I'm using one of those toddies.
The toddy. Those are great.
Yeah.
Well, that sits for 24, some people like 48 hours.
48 hours. Yeah. I like it strong.
Yeah. So if you let it sit for a long time to avoid getting bitterness, which cold brew is really good for a smooth extraction, and it's known for having less bitterness pulled from the coffee. So, but really, you definitely want to have a coarse grind, especially if you're using a French press. If you use a fine grind, it's going to be really muddy. So I would suggest a coarse grind on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning things. This is awesome. And then what about like single bean or blend kind of things? What's your vibe on that?
Well, single origin is a coffee that you can get single origin or blends, and there's not I really don't think that there's a better or worse. But a single origin is interesting because you're actually getting coffee from a single area, or oftentimes just a single farm. And with that, you can get a understanding of what type of coffee you're getting, whether like exactly the height, the elevation, the weather patterns, and who is farming it. And so with a single origin, you can get a lot of information that way. And different origins like Peruvian can have sweeter notes, and Honduras or Sumatran can have more of an earthy tone, and that's kind of fun with that. So you can educate yourself. Blends are often a good example of the roaster offering you what they feel is a good cup of coffee for, like an example would be an espresso blend. So espressos pull out a lot of flavor and can be really bitter. So if a roaster wants to pull some sweetness and give some earth tones, and they're kind of sculpting it. So that is actually a really good thing. You can have a good roaster that can offer a very good blended coffee.
So you can kind of get
our Cayuga Lake, dark roast is one of our blends, and we use that in the Mohawk Harvest Co-op for our espresso machine.
That's a great lead-in. We actually have a little spot that we created for you about showing off that particular coffee. Let's check it out.
Cool. I'm excited. Let's see it.
Roll it. Wow, that was awesome.
Wow.
Thanks to Gnosis, the team that I work with that created that, Jeff and Dustin. Holy smokes. Wow. So, yeah.
Thanks for putting that together.
I mean, they're artists, you're an artist, we're all artists here. Coffee blends are art. You're on your website, you feature all kinds of different art. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, yeah. One thing that really sets Upstate Coffee apart and is exciting to me, and I think a lot of our customers, is that we are working with photographers throughout the whole state, and musicians, and sporting events, and schools, and there's just a lot of really cool things that we're involved in. Bed and breakfasts, ski resorts. Just a lot of the exciting things that upstate New York has to offer.
And you can see
it's
this.
Fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it all over your website. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, you have these pictures from local artists. UpstateCoffee.com. That is the place to go.
Check it out.
And please check it out and check out what coffees you have. I mean, you have a bunch of coffees. How many different coffee blends or coffees do you have there?
We have 7, working on 8.
Nice.
Gonna get a couple more, I think, too.
Perfect. Well, I've tried pretty much all of them.
Some products that we got going on that I'm excited about too. A lot of cool things happening.
Right on. Well, check out the website. My personal favorite coffee is the Sacandaga. I love it. It tastes so good. Anyway, thank you so much, Kevin, for being on the show. Really appreciate your knowledge and your passion and your artistry. Talk to you soon, my cuz. Take care.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
All right.
I'll see you around.
All right. See ya.